Now that we've completed making all of our parts for the box, we're now going to assemble the box. So in order to assemble it, we're going to make it excuse me, look just like what you see up here in the corner. So in order to do that, we have to bring these parts together one at a time. So to get started, we're going to go back out to our Inventor program. And this time, instead of creating a new part, we're going to do an assembly. So we release on assembly, and it takes a few minutes, but it'll come up with a blank window here. And what we want to do now is we want to place our parts in this assembly. And with this project, the first part that we're going to place is our bottom. So what you need to do is click on the place button. And then we go out and we have to find our folder that has our parts in it. Remember I told you to save it in a folder called Pine Box, and there it is. We're going to find our bottom part and we're going to go to open. And as you can see, when you open it up, the first piece that comes in, it'll allow you to add more than one, but you only want to bring one in, so you hit escape right away. And a few things I want to show you with this bottom. It'll come in on the side here, and it'll say bottom, and then it'll be like a little thumbtack or some type of like an anchor. That allows this thing to sit fastened down. So when I try to drag on it right now when it's blue and try to move it, it won't move. Okay? So what I'm going to do right away is save it. So I click my save, and I'm in the same folder as I was with my parts, but the thing is you don't see the parts in here because this is an assembly in the IAM. It's not a part. If I would change this to all files, you would see my parts. See they are where they are? But instead I'm going to make it a IAM. And I'm going to call it box and do a save on that. Okay, now this is the first part. Now what we need to do is bring in our second part, which is going to be our sides. So I click on sides, and the first one's going to come in, and I'm going to put it close to where it should be on the end of the box, and then I'm going to put a second one on the other end, and then hit escape. Now to take these parts right now and put them in the correct position, we have to know how they go together. So if we take a look at our drawing, this little groove right here, or this little line right here, is going to line up with the line on the bottom of the box. In order to get them to line up, we're going to use a command called constraint. Think of constraint as being nails or glue. So when I click on constraint, I get a little dialog window that comes up here, and the first one is called mate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring together common edges, and the common edge for this bottom is this vertical line right here, and the other edge that matches with it is the vertical line of the dado. As you can see, it makes a popping noise when you do it. Now in order to get it to stick, you have to hit apply. Alright, now that is locked together at that point right there. Now what we need to do is lock it together going in this direction here. So I click on the bottom line, and I click on the bottom line here, and I hit apply. Now just like with the other parts, to view this, it's easier to view it with edges, shaded with edges. So when I click on that, you notice how it turns on, you can see the edges better. But after you get done doing that, get off the View tab and go back to Assembly. Okay? So now, once we put that piece in place, we try to move it around. If I grab on it and pull on it with my mouse button down, it can't move because it's locked in with that constraint. Now on the other side, we have a problem here. This slot is on the wrong side with this edge. So what I need to do is click on this part and go to my rotate tool. And I'll get like a circle here, and what I got to do carefully is hold my left mouse button down and spin it so that I can see this edge right here and this edge right here. Once I spin it far enough, which this is good right now, I hit escape. Now I'm ready to use my constraint again. So I click on constraint, click on my common edge, which is going to be this one here. Notice if I click out here, I'll grab other surfaces. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to cancel that and do it again. Constraint, I want to grab that edge and put it together with that edge. Apply. Now, that's the vertical Now what I want to do is take it and go horizontal. I can either do this top edge with this one here, see that top edge is kind of buried underneath the part. So it's much easier to come down here and do the bottom one. So if I do the bottom one here, click here, and the bottom one there, you see how the two come together? Hit apply, and that, I'm going to try to move it, it won't move. Go to home view. That is the end of putting the two ends on the bottom. The next parts that we want to assemble is our front and our back. Go up to our example. The front and the back are located on the edges of the box. So to get started with that, we're going to go back out to the place menu, find our front and back part, open it, place one on that side and one on this side, and then go to done or hit escape. Now on this one here, we're going to bring together this edge. Let's move that back a little bit. We're going to bring together this front edge with this edge here. So I go back up to my constraint command. I click on this edge here and this edge here, and I apply it. Now I could apply it to this edge here and the edge right there, or I could apply it to this edge and this edge, because you know they all line up with each other. So I'm going to do this one because it's easier to see, this edge and this edge, and I apply that, and it pretty much fastens the back end. Now I have to do it to the one end to lock it. Now on this piece right here, I'm going to have to rotate it like I did on the other one. So I click on that, go to my rotate tool, and I spin this around and get it close so that I can see, hit escape, and I can see this top edge right here with the top edge right there. So I take my constraint, go with this edge and that edge and apply it. And again, I could do this inside edge with this inside edge here, or I could do the outside edge with the outside edge here and apply that. There, that pretty much puts the main box together. When you take a look at it and you try to move your parts, they can't move. Just a couple things about this window over here. Here's our sides. If you go and hit these plus signs, it shows you all the mating that you did or how you put these parts together. If you ever had to change things, you could delete those and take the box back apart. And every one of those has those. See, there's two here, one there, and one there. See how they line up over here. Okay, our last step is going to be to put the lid on the box. To bring the lid in, we hit place, go to our top, hit open, and we're going to place it right up above the box as close as we can. And then again, right click, done. So what I'm going to do at this top, first of all, is I'm going to hinge the back side of it with the back top edge of the box. So I'm going to turn it so I can see the back. Take my constraint, aim at this top back edge, and then the bottom edge of the top, right there, and I apply that. Now, once I apply that and I go back to my home view, I could take that lid and move it all over the place, but I just want to lift it up enough to see the bottom of it. My next step is to take the bottom of this lid and fasten it to the top edge of the box here. So to do that, I just simply go to my constraint again, click on the bottom of the lid, zoom on this front edge and click and apply that. Now, what we have is the lid is now fastened on the back side and it's fastened down so you can't lift it up. All you can do is slide it. My next step is going to be to position the lid so it's evenly distributed on both sides of the box. If you look at my drawing here, it tells us what that distribution is. If you look up here and zoom in on this drawing here, it's a 1/2 inch overhang. So what I'm going to do is come back out to my constraint command, and I am going to tilt the box so I can see underneath and see this edge here and this edge here. And I'm going to type in here for offset 0.5 for that 1/2 inch. I'm going to click on the top edge of the box right there, that white line, and then the edge of the lid right there. And it automatically adjusts it to that 0.5. I hit apply, cancel, go back to my front view and look at it, and as you can see, the box is evenly spaced a 1/2 inch on this side and this side. When I go to home view, it's completely put together. And what's kind of neat is if you want to look at the different parts, you can look at the bottom of the box, look at the other side of it, Another thing you can do is hold your mouse button down on the corner and just move your mouse up and down. Let you pivot it, look at it, different things. In addition, you can go back to your home view. And then another neat thing you can do when it's assembled is you can turn parts off to look inside. For example, this front part, if I click on it here, it becomes blue over here. If I right click my mouse on this blue and go down to where it says visibility and release on it, it turns that off so you can see inside the box. Notice how it's gray over here? If I right click on it again and go back to visibility, it turns it back on. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit save again because I saved it earlier. And that concludes assembling the box.